Hey everyone, this is going to be a quick beginner's tutorial for Davinci Resolve. So when you first open a project, you're going to end up on the media page. This is where you can import all your media, but I want to do it here. Then you have the cut page, which is practically useless, and I would ignore this page. The bulk of your work is going to come in the edit page and the fusion page for the more advanced stuff. But since you're watching my tutorial, the fusion page isn't going to be so scary anymore. But first, let's enter the edit page. So when you first enter the edit page, you're going to have nothing. The timeline is empty. So to make a timeline, what you want to do is left click, timeline, create new timeline, create. If you're doing shorts, you would create timeline, create new timeline, uncheck project settings, go to format and vertical resolution. This is where you can also change the frame rate and timeline resolution to your liking. You see here, that's the shorts editor, but we're going to be working in a 1920 by 180 timeline. So when you first create a timeline, you're going to have access to all these tools here. The bookmark feature, the snapping feature, the cutting feature. I'm going to guide you through all of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is have this emoji PNG here. So I'm just going to drag this into the timeline. The background is looking a little plain. So I'm going to go up into the effects tab, go down to generator and search up solid color. Now I wouldn't usually do this, but you can see what some of these effects do. Because when you open the effects tab, you're going to be blinded by all these effects here. Transitions, tools, all these presets that you can use. Now you can use these, you can go around and see what they do. I didn't really do that. I just jumped straight into the fusion page, which is what I'm going to show you. Because the fusion page is where you can create all these effects by yourself, and it's way more powerful than any of these effects here. So I just want to show you that solid color. Now I have snapping enabled, and what that allows me to do is when I drag another thinking emoji into this timeline, it snaps to the closest clips without overriding or leaving black spaces in between. So I'll demonstrate it right here, like that. If you didn't have snapping enabled, I'll show you as well. You would have to manually align it. And you can accidentally do that, which is not what you want to do. So I would just keep snapping enabled all the time when you're editing. Now the second thing you need to know is how to cut, because the normal way you would click on trim mode, edit mode, and you would cut like that, like this. That's inefficient and you're gonna find that really annoying really quick. So what I would do is copy my keyboard shortcuts. The first thing you want to do is go to Davinci Resolve up here and go to keyboard customizations. Then you want to search up split clip. I have mine keybind to F. It's easier than the default version of curl plus slash. So you can copy that as well. Just click that plus and add F. Now the second one you want to search up is ripple delete. The natural one's delete, but I usually have my hands resting on WASD. So Q is easy and F is also easy to reach. So you can just add that in as well. Just do Q and I'll show you what it does right now. So I have this thinking emoji here. I'm going to use F to cut, go a few frames, use F again, select the part that you want to delete, press Q, and it just closes that gap for you. If you deleted without ripple delete or the shortcut I gave you Q, then you're going to end up with this. I'm gonna cut again, which is F, and then I'm gonna select the part I want to delete, and I'm gonna use backspace this time instead of Q. You see now there's a blank space there, and more often than not, you're gonna close up that blank space. So I would just skip that step entirely and just use ripple delete. You need to be careful when using ripple delete though when you have audio, because it sometimes shifts your timelines. In that case, I would do it manually so it doesn't mess anything up. So just keep that in mind. Now that's a general gist of the edit page, but I'm going to show you the fusion page so you're not confused when you go onto it eventually. So I'm going to show you the two most used effect in Davinci, and it's not anything mind-blowing or cool. So what you're going to do, go up to effects, come down to effects, and you see this fusion comp and adjustment clip. Star those two effects. They're not anything mind-blowing, but I'll show you how powerful they can be. So I'm going to drag in a fusion comp, and you'll see when you hover over it, no frame available for media out 1. That just means there's no media in. So I'm going to go here, go down, click on the fusion page. You're going to see this huge node toolbar here. We're not going to focus on everything here. I'm just going to give you the basics. So what you're going to do is bring in a generator. As we've seen before, a background. There are more media ins, but I'm just going to use a background node because it's easy. Then I'm going to drag in the merge node. You can use shift and put that merge in. So the first thing you'll notice is this yellow arrow here. That yellow arrow actually means something. That means that whatever is on the yellow arrow is part of the background, and whatever is part of the green arrow is the foreground. So I'm gonna press Alt so you can see, click foreground. I'm gonna change the color to white, and I'm just gonna put something like this, hello. You see the text is on top of everything. It's part of the foreground. If I were to switch this around, curl T, you see the text here is now part of the background. And this background here is the foreground. So if I change this color here, that's all you see. But if I switch it with curl T, you're going to see that the text reappears because it's now on the foreground. It's not on the background anymore. Those are the two main things that you should know. Now you'll also see a blue arrow here, and that's just to mask things out. So I'm going to bring in a polygon, which are the masking tools. I'm going to bring in an ellipse polygon and input it into this text. You'll see nothing happen yet, but if I decrease the size of this ellipse, this is just an expression. You can just decrease it manually. You'll see that it starts to disappear. And that's because whatever is in the ellipse, it's what's being shown. So if I were to invert the mask, it would be everything outside of the ellipse. Hopefully you understand that. So just to reiterate, I'm going to go back to the uninverted version. If I move this ellipse to the right, you'll see the hell is more emphasized than the low. Okay, so that's the general gist of the ellipse. Now the next thing you need to know, I'm going to delete the ellipse here, is this toolbar here. This is where you're going to do all your animating and where all the cool things are going to happen. In the edit page, you can also do this, but it's a little more janky. Now you're going to see all these toolbars here. The text one has especially a lot of toolbars, but don't get overwhelmed by them. You can just go around, play with it, and see what they do. And you also have this cool write-on effect. Just see what they do. The most used to animate is size and position. So what you want to do is click this button here. That's a keyframe button. Then move a few frames, like 30 frames, and click it again. Then you're going to size it up to however you want it. You're going to see that it's going to animate. You see that? It's a linear animation. If you didn't click the keyframe button, you're going to have something like this. No animation throughout the whole timeline. So make sure to click that keyframe button, and you'll get a nice linear animation. Now that looks a little weird, right? You can play around with the keyframes, but it'll still look linear. So what you want to do is open the spline editor here and click the size. Then you want to click select all, or you can just click and hover over it and do that as well. So what you want to do is smooth it out. Press S. Now the graph is a little smoother here. And then if you want it fast at the beginning and slow later on, you're going to use this sort of graph. How I like to think about it is the slope. The steeper it is, the faster it'll go. So you see here is very steep, so it's going to go very fast at the beginning. But at the latter end, it's less steep, so it's going to go slower. I'm going to demonstrate it right here, and you're going to see it through the spline editor right here. You see it went fast at the beginning, and it slowly slows down. Show you again. So that's what the spline editor is for. It's for you to control the speed of the animation. And if you want to do that, you can do it manually with a graph, and you can test around with all sorts of graphs, like the S graph here, where it starts off slow at the beginning, and you see it's very sloped here, so it's going to go really fast and then really slow. See that? Now the nodes I've used right now are some of the most basic nodes on the Fusion page. If you go up into Effects tab here, you'll have a bunch of tools here that you might not need or might not use, but you should go through them and find out which ones are cool whenever you have time. If you don't have the time, I'm going to show you another node that's basically fundamental to the Fusion page, and that is the Transform node. The Transform node is your animating hero. You can size everything up, change the center, you can change the aspect to make it look more stretched, you can change the angle. So whenever you need to animate something, say this PNG right here, you can animate in the merge node, but I would use the transform node to just keep things organized. So the transform node, same deal. You can just animate it however you want, the center, the size, and it just gives that PNG or whatever you're animating the option to be animated. So I'm just gonna center this off the screen, keyframe it, to come on screen around like 50. And this time, I'm going to do the opposite way, where it's faster at the latter end. And if you see this little blur type thing, just go to settings and enable motion blur, or 280 is my settings, or Peach's settings. I took it from him. So now you can see. And yeah, so that's all the Davinci Resolve knowledge you really need to go out and make some crazy motion graphics. Now, if you want to learn more about the Fusion page and more about Davinci Resolve in general, I've made a tutorial that's going to come out very soon, and it's going to be very complex, but because you've watched this tutorial, you will understand. So yeah, see you in that video, and see you later.